Well, willkommen, Huanan, and welcome back to the Full Throttle Racing Season 7. This is Division 2 evening, and my name is Webbo, here to take you through tonight's race. But joining me for the pre-show tonight, we have one of our Aston Martin drivers. It's AP Marg. Welcome, AP.
Oh, thank you. I feel good.
Well, we're pleased to have you with us. What are your kind of impressions and feelings about the race to come in Great Britain?
Um, in actual fact, Silverstone is one of my favorite tracks. Believe it or not, Monaco is my other favorite track. And I'm quite looking forward to it because come rain or shine, I'm ready for it.
Excellent. Well, you couldn't ask for two more different circuits than Monaco and Silverstone. So what is it about Silverstone that you enjoy so much?
It's got a very good flowing motion to it, and
Yeah.
then it tests your skills on certain corners. If you just a fraction out of line, you get an invalidation, or you go looking for the wall.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the wall is a bit, in some corners, a bit distant, so hitting the wall is not really an issue, but at speed, yeah, you can.
Definitely, as Sergio Perez found out in the sprint race.
Yeah.
But so you currently lie 14th in the championship. I imagine that it would be fair to say it's not quite going how you'd intended so far. What's been the issues, do you think?
No, actually, a little secret is I'm not really in it for the championship. I'm just
Okay.
there for the enjoyment.
Okay, nice.
Um, I, I've been doing this for quite a while. When I say quite a while, I watched the first F1 race in 1968,
Okay,
and
wow.
been a big fan since then. Um, and I started serious racing in about 1990, but I had quite a long break, took care of family matters, and obviously collecting the funds for building a rig and stuff wasn't really there when you're looking at a family.
Sure.
But yeah, and since 2020 was the next time I took it up, I built myself a serious rig, got myself a Fanatec podium. All my savings is now on the lower side again, but I've got my dream rig, and it's happiness now because now it's just for the enjoyment.
Oh, awesome. Well, it's rare for me to talk to someone who has been watching F1 longer than I have. I was 1991 was my first Grand Prix, but I am very familiar with everything that happened from 81 because I collected all the season review videos. So
Uh,
I know my way around that. But awesome that your first race was in '68. Do you have a memory of who you were following then, which race it was?
Look, memories of Gerhard Berger came to mind. Um, Jackie Stewart was big in my
Yeah.
mind, and went to Kyalami when F1 still came to Kyalami,
Oh, excellent.
and the car that stood out was the black John Player Special,
Of course.
which was to me the nicest sounding car ever, and it's just the main reason why I went there. Most recently, there was a show, and I went to see the Jordan when the Jordan was still in,
Yep.
and I managed to just get a seat and sit inside the Jordan, which was to me a very amazing thing. It was just on show; it wasn't in the pits, though. They
That
wouldn't
sounds
let me
cool.
drive it.
No, no. When I did a factory tour of the Red Bull factory through a friend in common, took my youngest son, um, and he got to sit in Vettel's first championship-winning uh,
Oh wow! Yeah.
machine. That I wasn't even going to ask whether I might be able to have a squeeze in because I think there
Uh,
was no chance for me. But he got to sit in that, and it lit him up. So that's it's good memories, isn't it, when you get to actually
yeah, it
touch
is.
the
It
cars for
is.
sure. So yeah, you're fully kitted out. What kind of practice time are you dedicating to the races?
Well, I originally practiced quite a lot. When I say a lot, I'm looking at about 30 hours a week.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
and and that was just to get back into the swing of things because I hadn't driven for a while in 2020, since
Yep.
20, before 2020. Um, But I've scaled that down because as the skill level comes up, practice is not required that much. And it went well. And now I'm doing about 5 to 8 hours a week.
Okay.
And
Well,
for
yeah,
a
that's
particular
reasonable.
race, sorry.
Yeah, that's a reasonable amount still. Still putting in the time.
Yeah, I was originally in 2020 full on right from the get-go. I did no assists, and till I met Avilak, he convinced me to put on 1 or 2, but it didn't work for me, and then I switched it off again. But I've been driving with no assists for a while, and then GT7 came along, and I tried that, and it messed up muscle memory and everything. So
Oh,
the
okay.
only assist I'm driving with now is ABS.
It's very difficult, is it, when you're switching between games? I'm finding it right now. I'm doing Assetto Corsa Competizione myself for pleasure, although it's mostly pain playing that game. And then I try and
Yeah.
switch back into GT7, and it's really hard, and I'm just useless at this iteration of the game. I've had 0 seat time in the in
Yeah.
F122. But how do you rate the sort of the additional features this year in the game and the new developments? Are you feeling like it's mostly positive, mostly negative? What's your view on it?
It's mostly positive. You know, the look and feel of the game feels nice. But game developers need to step up the bugs in open lobbies
Hmm.
and online lobbies. I've watched quite a few content creators that highlighted the mistakes, especially, for example, the latest addition of cross-platform.
Yep.
Apparently, it's a total fail.
Okay.
Lobbies are really crashing
Mm.
because of whatever reason. I can't say, but generally speaking, I found the game is quite interesting. When I switched on F122 the first day, I realized this is a very, very understeery car.
Hmm.
And I had to change driving style, and fortunately ABS assisted me with getting my braking markers and all such things. But in the end, my objective is to enjoy, so I thoroughly got into it, and I find it's quite entertaining. I'm not interested in the extras like in the previous game was um, that online game mode. I can't even remember the name of it, where storyline or
Yep.
storytelling
Yep.
was in the game. And this one has got a nice feature of you in a waiting room and you can see your buddies dressed up and everything. But that's useless for the game because
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
I just dress up and I just carry on practicing, and I don't look at all the details.
I imagine, like me, you miss the classic cars.
No,
Really?
no, I don't miss the classic cars. I'll tell you, in the earlier versions, I've managed to keep a copy of a 2010 version, and driving those cars is much difficult compared to the cars in this game
True.
or 2020 games. And I don't miss it. I miss looking at them, but I don't miss, you know, the actual playing the game of it, you know.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I held a special event actually at one point using the classic cars, just as a surprise to the drivers involved.
Uh,
And there was a lot of frustration, and they quickly gathered that only two of the cars were actually competitive in the entire roster.
uh,
So it is a little bit frustrating on that terms. But I love to watch the classic stuff rolling around.
Yeah,
Um,
the ones I really enjoyed was the sausage cars. You know, I call them sausage cars, but they look like a cigar. You know,
yes, yeah, without all the wings, yeah.
without all the wings and the stuff and these massive brake discs. You know,
Right.
I think it was one of the alphas that started with those special brakes, those massive brake discs. I'm not sure, but anyway, that's those cars that I miss looking at, but playing in the game, nah, I'm done. I
Did
remember
it sounds like
in a
from
previous
what is
game,
it sort of F1? If you were gaming in 1990, that would have been Jeff Crammond's Grand Prix game, right?
something like that. Yeah,
But
yeah.
did you ever try Grand Prix Legends?
No,
Because
no.
that
I
had some of the really awesome 60s cars,
Yeah, the
and the
60s cars,
original
that's right.
Spa track, and I think
Yeah.
there's actually still a mod community online building new mods for it. Apparently it's quite something, but yeah, I never
Yeah.
got into it very heavily, but I always wanted to.
Yeah, it was fun.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
I think we'll be heading towards the grid shortly. I think we're waiting on a certain cowboy to show up. I think he had to do a restart due to
Okay.
a lack of sound. So I think we'll be on track shortly. But what are you targeting today? Are you looking at any particular highlights to come in the rest of the season?
No, look, my main target is to finish the race, to finish well, clean, no invalidations, and just enjoy it in a good way. Competitiveness is a fraction there. I wouldn't say it's not there, but I just want to finish a good, clean race.
Awesome. Well, we wish you well. It's great to talk to you, AP Mark, and yeah, go well today.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me.
Good stuff. Well,
Okay.
that was great to speak. I'll just make mention to AP Mark just to make sure he's muted or exited. I think last week our guest in the pre-show, the drivers could hear him for the majority of the race. Well, the countdown timer is started. That was great to have a chat with AP Mark, and welcome everybody who's joined us on stream already. Welcome to Panda, Josh, Gerhard, Yako, Burn It Down, and Jaun. So welcome to all of you. Thank you for stopping by, letting me know that particularly Joshua, you're here for Alpine, Gerhard here for the Red Bull team, and Jaco for Aston Martin. That's good to know who's watching and who's waiting. Really interesting chat with AP Mark. Hope you enjoyed that. But let's talk. Let's get down to business tonight then. Now that everybody's ready to get underway. The driver standings for Division 2 after 4 rounds sees Sergeant Panda on top on 107 points, some distance now from Burn It Down on 86. Avalak, the league owner, is on 65 with Saltzmeister on 55. Then comes Stoffel and Shane close together, 50 and 49 together. Then Martin, Ron, Pampern and Hamrick are your top 10. Top Gun is 11th but won't be making an appearance tonight due to facing a race ban. And we just spoke, of course, with AP Mark, who's currently sitting on 11 points in 14th position. Chicken Wing, Esitronic still looking for their first points of the season as well. And when it comes to the cross divisional Constructors Championship, Alfa Romeo are on top with 187 to Alpine on 178. Then come Mercedes, Williams, Aston Martin and McLaren, with Ferrari having picked up a good amount of points from last week. They were still on 2 at the start of last week's proceedings. They're now on 37 in 9th place, and Haas are at the foot of the standings as well. We've almost got a reverse fortune grid with Red Bull and Ferrari in 8th and 9th in the championship as things stand here. From our real life standings, at least this year. Well, as I say, we're about to get underway for Q1, and we will be here at the Silverstone track, be enjoying taking you through some of the classic named corners, which always makes me happy. I prefer talking about corners with names than corners with their numbers. Hi to Johan, who's here supporting Panda tonight, which is great. I fear that without Top Gun we will have a diminished audience, so please stick around for us and make sure that you've subscribed to the channel so you don't miss Premier Division tomorrow, and also you've liked the video today before you leave us. But it looks like Ron is keen to get a move on with the mirror smooth Wellington Straight here at Silverstone, and leading the championship for the constructors. Ron is going to be keen to represent his team as well as possible. So what else do we have on the board for you? Well, we've got the McLarens, who have been showing some super hot pace this year. If losing a little bit on consistency overall, looking to see the likes of Ferrari pick up some points today as well, and see how the fairly young championship is progressing through the rest of the evening. Looking forward to racing around Silverstone. Always a fun night of racing. Drivers pushing hard. I haven't had a weather forecast just yet. I will check in with the drivers as well, make sure that I know. And Botta is right there with me already and telling me that it's all dry. So brilliant stuff. So Ron is about to start his hot lap. Let's join him on board as he comes through the final 2 corners. Captain Rubber Ducky says Panda as well for the win, so that's excellent to hear. Panda well supported at the lead of the championship. And we go down now the Hamilton straight before heading into Abbey for the first time on board with Ron. Now we go down into Farm and the loop. Getting a little bit tail happy, a little bit heavy on the revs perhaps as we head out onto the Wellington Straight, so named after the Wellington bombers for this World War II hangars and airfield that used to be in. And we barrel into Brooklands, always faster than you think a car can get into a corner through there, and then quite the opposite through Luffield, very slow and out of Woodcut, which is pretty much just an acceleration zone. Now we look at our braking or downshift point for Copse. While the track is super green, I would dip down into 7th gear, missed the apex slightly and ran out wide. Now we go into the fabulous Maggots, 2 corners followed by Beckett's, and then the next left hand corner acceleration zone is Chapel, as we look to have a good run on the driver in front, either catch a tail if you're in qualifying or to look for an overtaking point into the classic corner of Stoke. Down we go into the back into Vale and Club once again to finish out the lap. Cyber is here to support Alpha Tauri, which is good to hear. Ron gets a 1:31.1, the first lap on the board tonight in these conditions, super dry conditions out there. It is pretty super dry for us here in the UK right now as well, so it's fairly accurate. Even if you're all expecting to see rain. Shane, a 1:29.2, drops the bar significantly for Alpha Tauri. Great lap on the board there, and I think Martin is about to close out his lap, is he? No, he's beginning his lap, so we might hang out with Martin because he's been pretty quick in qualifying 1 and 2 at least in the last few races, so that should be plenty enjoyable to watch with him. Also setting time, Chicken Wing has got a 31.8 on the board. Pampern drops in a 1:35.1 in the Haas, and nice to see Yako here as well. So welcome everybody. I hope you're here. I presume a lot of drivers are here to scope out for their strategies for tomorrow for the Premier Division. But if so, let me know if you think the strategies are working out well. Martin is feeling confident through Copse. That was a good turn in. Downshift though. Remember the track is pretty green in Q1, so it's all about survival, being in the top 15 or 14 depending on how the game is feeling. Sarrel is here for Chicken Wing. Mango is here for Ferrari as well, so brilliant stuff. Getting then into the hangars, into Stowe for Martin. He's got a nice matching helmet this week for the car. I don't think that's always been the case. This looks new to me from Martin. Heading out to top the times on a 28.5. That is a quick early time from Martin. It wouldn't surprise me if he decides to head back into the pits and take off his gloves after that one. That was a pretty good lap, to say the least. Minor then in P8, currently having not set a time in the Williams, and gets a little bit tail happy on the way out of Stoke. There's plenty of time, still 11.5 minutes to go, so he can pick up where he left off, hopefully improve. Cowboy has managed to invalidate that lap, so we know we've got people here for Ferrari, so let's watch with them, with Chums about to cross the line. P3 on a 30.2, so Ferrari sit 3rd and 7th currently, but Martin still heads the way from Shane's time. A good gap at the moment, favouring Martin. We've got Hamrick, Avilac and Burn It Down on track. Tempted to watch Burn It Down because he usually gives his teammate a run for his money as well. thanks to Botta in the Red Bull for the weather forecast, which is great to see, always useful. Burn It Down still on the outlap though, just trying to get the best drive possible out of the final corner, and now attacking the lap. Not even the hint of a lift through Abbey, so feeling good about the tyres. Maybe slightly higher on the minimum speed through Farm, and now into the loop. Thankfully the Alpine got well out of the way, looking for the best possible slingshot out of the loop and onto the Wellington straight now, and down into Brooklands we go. Very late turn in for Brooklands, perhaps slightly too late, perhaps slightly too quick for Burn It Down. Unfortunately that is the lap done for, so he'll have to run again. Maybe have time to regenerate the battery. We've got Cowboy on a lap right now. We've also got Avi on a lap, so let's see what Cowboy's first sector looks like, and then we'll go and have a look at the Red Bull driver as well. Cowboy then a 29.5. It says purple, but that is just for him because it's his first lap on the board in the session. Still haven't fixed that bug. 27.7 is pretty handy for Avalak. I imagine you get a good feeling in a Red Bull around Silverstone at the moment. The cars are on equalised performance though. There's no differences between the vehicles, of course, in a competitive league as this one. Esitronic managed to get a DSQ and it's currently at the tail end of the championship standings, so that's not the best way to start your night's racing, unfortunately. Avalak then through into Beckett's now, looking to stamp on the throttle at the apex and guide the car through Chapel with as straight a line as possible. Down into fifth gear, kissing the apex and the exit curb, not leaving a bit of a margin here, which is wise through Q1. Don't quite know, we've seen a couple of drivers spin already on traction. So across the line of 28.975 is much closer than anybody else has got so far to Martin. Shane on a 29.2, Martin though on a 28.5, still at the front. So Hamrick for Alpha Tauri goes very close to his teammate in fourth, and that will cheer the Alpha Tauri teammates joining us on the stream as well. Jacques then, we heard from Jacques last week in the pre-show. If you're interested, go back and watch it. Characteristic turbo whine on Jacques' car. That's a well, it's purple second sector, but as I say before, that's no indicator of their pace particularly. In we go to Stowe. Now into the Vale and Club Complex. Does feel a little bit of an anathema to the rest of the circuit, Vale and Club, but a 28.7 for Jacques, straight up onto the front row provisional. Well, the second fastest time at least. We are only doing Q1, so it's all about survival. So down at the tail of the field currently, you've got Panda, who has yet to start his hot lap, and Stoffel here on board with Stoffel right now, looking to set a time. Well, Panda is the leader of the championship. We probably should watch a lap with Panda, especially given half the audience are here to support him. Short shifting into third at the apex through the loop. So far so good for Panda. Fiery downshift as he swings the car smoothly enough through Cox. And a characteristic one downshift into the second Maggots, another into Beckett's, and then looking for a good line heading towards Stowe down the hanger straight here. really monstering that gearbox, isn't he? And sprints for the line then. Panda into the 28s, a tiny fraction slower than Jacques, so P3 for Panda is a good way to set yourself up. Stoffel in the meantime got into P7, so should be fairly safe. Let me know if you're watching what time you think will be the elimination time for Q1. What are they aiming for? Would a time in the mid-31s be about right, do we think, to secure your place? Burn It Down is in a bit of a sticky situation here. He's going quickly right now on this lap, but I imagine he's on an in lap, having spent three tyres. In fact, he's suddenly left the session, and we skip into a different car. So it's not going smoothly for Burn It Down, who has had some great performances so far this season. Avalak and Martin both retire from the session, just leaving some room on track for the drivers who need to get a better time on the board, which is very sporting of them, or they can't be bothered and they just want to go and get a drink. Thankfully, Burn It Down will make it back to us, so with 4.5 minutes to go, he'll hope that's the only time that happens. Salzmeister ruins a very good lap there. He was 4/10 to the good, and unfortunately slips off the racetrack through Chapel. Easily done. Looking for a better time now from Pampern, who is 2.5 seconds to the good on his outlap from his previous outlap, I think. Let's have a look at his sector time. It's a 0.6 of a second improvement. The track will start to ramp up pretty quickly, pretty aggressively at this stage in Q1. Wow, lots of apex curb from Pampern. It's a good, healthy line through there. Very, very smooth going through Maggots and Beckett's. It's a difficult set of corners, and that buys him 1.9 seconds over his fastest time so far. So this one should be pretty good, pretty representative of his outright pace. Oh, massive oversteer into Stowe. You could feel the car shifting its weight almost while watching on board. So perhaps getting a little bit loose through Stowe. Maybe that fabulous line through Stowe, Maggots and Beckett's cost him in tyre wear, but a 2.4 second improvement gets him right up to P8. That should be good enough. Panda thinks he's got a good enough time on the board as well. And any neutrals in the crowd surely cheering our pre-show guest tonight, AP Marg. So let's ride with him and see how this goes. Oh, a slightly high minimum speed going through the second part of Beckett's meant he had to get right out of the throttle going into Chapel. So that will cost him down the hanger straight. He's still positive on his Delta though. Lots of retirements coming in, of course, just clearing the track for these drivers to finish up. Getting greedy with the braking zone, AP Marg. I don't know if he's been spending his time in time trial track conditions, because it's a very different animal. AP Marg though improves up to P10, should be safe at 30.4 so far, as we see if Burn It Down can survive this Q1. It's not been going swimmingly so far for Burn It Down, so it's all to play for and the pressure all on. There's a car up in front as well that may cost him some time. I think that's actually AP Marg, who just completed his lap. Let's see. Hi to Waitsy, who joins. I wonder if Waitsy, you're a regular here, or you happen to pick up my post on Twitter at WebORed5 if you want to follow my commentary. I've just published my my next schedule as well on the pinned post. You'll see where you can find me over the course of the next month or so at least. So heading into Stowe is Burn It Down. That Aston Martin some distance away, you have to say. And hi to Shellin or Shakes from last season's Division 2, now of course a Premier Division driver. Are you driving Alphas at the moment, Shellin? I can't remember. Is that why Alpha are doing so well with you and Brad at the helm. So down we go into Vale, rounding through Club. And the McLaren from Burn It Down up to P9 and just surviving with 30 seconds left on the clock before the checkered flag. That'll do for Burn It Down. He'll breathe a sigh of relief. But right on the bubble is Salzmeister. We saw him invalidate his previous lap. Challenge says they're in the McLaren team. Okay, excellent. I should know these things, but I can't stay across two divisions that I'm not driving. McLaren currently in 6th place in the championship, so not quite where you were accustomed to being last season, I'm sure. Let's see if Salzmeister can improve on his time slightly early on the turn-in, maybe there. Certainly seemed to correct himself going through Stowe. Car looking pretty loose at the rear. Salzmeister, he'll be hoping it sticks better through the race. And the next session, if he makes it, he's 8 tenths to the good though. This is a good lap. Down into Cops. Well, wait, so you can see where I'm commentating on a Monday night. Although I think you've just missed the sign-ups, unfortunately, for that one. But across the line then for Salzmeister, gets up to P13. That should be safe. And now it's all about Cowboy and what Cowboy can do. Burn It Down is being politely asked to leave the session because of the lag tonight on the car. He'll be hoping it can quietly go away and he'll be alright, but certainly seems to be having some problems with stability. Cowboy keeping the lap alive, but no good on this particular run. So it looks like that will be it. I think we will lose Cowboy. We may lose Chicken Wing. And then it looks like, obviously without setting a time, Minor and Esitronic will be out of this one. So into the pits comes Cowboy to finish this one out. The checkered flag has fallen. Nobody else will be going. And Sublime Film says Avalak and GJ Botta. Yeah, the Red Bulls are his team tonight. That looks to be Q1 done and dusted. We'll go into Q2 very soon, of course, for you. And nice bright sunshine and dry weather for our drivers tonight, it seems. Got cars just driving around for no apparent reason. I don't know if they've gone away from screen for a moment and they realise that they are in fact keeping the session alive. Second for Jacques. That's an impressive time. Let's see if Jacques can complete this for the following session. But Martin finishes top of the tree on a 1:28.598 from Jacques, just 1.5 tenths away, and pretty much so is Panda. Then comes Avalak, nearly 4 tenths behind, with Chums, Shane, Sahamrick, Stoffel, Burn It Down, Pampern in the pound seats for Q3 potentially. AP Mark right on the cusp. Ron, Salzmeister, Botta, all and Chicken Wing all make it through. Just about. They'll be looking for big improvements in the next session. Sadly, we lose Cowboy, Minor and Esitronic, but only as far as the race is concerned. So we'll see these guys show up at the formation lap, but from now on it's the top 15 time in Q2. And we will have 15 minutes of a session to put in your best possible time, or your least worst time, I suppose, technically. Francois Pinar says, let's go Aston Martin. So good to have lots of team representation here tonight. So what do you think the in the live chat, what do you think the cut-off point here for the top 10 will be? Do you want to see telemetry on the qualifying laps, I wonder as well. So first on out of the pits, it's one of the Alpha Tauris. Is that looks to be Shane. Shane's got a almost Danny Ricciardo palette helmet on tonight. There's that really looks like a visual glitch, that mirror surface on the Wellington Straight from that camera angle, doesn't it? Not super realistic looking. The rest of it's pretty good, you have to say, but that one takes you out of it a little bit, doesn't it? Just on a warm-up lap then for Shane with the fuel light on for some reason. And it seems to be the rain light flashing as well, so a little bit confusing what the car display is trying to tell us. Shane put in a good lap in the Q1 session, so looking for a clear track. A couple of cars, well, the McLaren just coming out of the pits at the moment won't trouble him. If someone decides to lurch out of their pit box about now, it might become a problem for Shane on his hot lap. Seems to be that those 4 drivers are staying in at this stage. Well, that's a shockingly terrible way to start a lap from Shane. He'll be hoping to get the car turned around, but you can't go reversing or going in the wrong direction. I think that's the next lap ruined for Shane, whether he parks it up or otherwise. But we got Burn It Down on a hot lap, so I was planning to watch with Shane, but we'll watch with Burn It Down for now. Has Aston Martin on track ahead, who's just come out of the pits, I believe. No, AP Marg in front is in fact on a hot lap as well. So Burn It Down be hoping to get tucked up behind the Aston Martin shortly. Had slightly better pace in Q1. Yellow flags on the track aren't going to worry the drivers too much. Double downshift into Copse corner. It's an unusual one. Into Maggots. Now Beckett's looks like he's going to get himself a really nice tow, actually, coming down the hanger straight behind AP Marg. Sparking away is the Aston Martin, bottoming out on the bumpy surface. Silverstone is very flat, but it's also pretty old as well. Hopefully AP Marg is going to get out of the way here. Needs to be looking in his mirrors. Oh, this is absolutely messing up Burn It Down's lap. Unfortunately, I think AP Marg inadvertently, well, Burn It Down's got a 29.2, but we saw much faster times than that. AP Marg on his own hot lap had no need to get out of the way, even though he was on a slower lap. But he could have done if he wished to. Ron then gets a P2, though you would argue perhaps that the onus is on the driver following to get a good enough gap, and it's always a risk you take if you are likely to pick up a tow. Chicken Wing about to cross the line, a 31.5 for the Ferrari driver. His teammate is about to complete a lap as well. Let's go see what kind of a time Chums can summon out of the prancing horse. P2, 29.2 at this early stage. It's very handy indeed. We've got Pampern about to finish his lap as well. Pampern crosses the line, and it's a P3, 130.219. Nice early lap there. Martin should be good to watch. Well, there we go. That teaches me to try and spot who's going to be a good watch. He'd invalidated on that lap. So Botta then coming through Copse and approaching the S's of Maggots and Beckett's. An invalidation for Botta stymies this run, unfortunately for him. to Hamrick then. 28.5 first sector. Well, some distance from the apex, unfortunately. Some clouds gathering in the sky, but I don't think we are headed for any problems. A little lift allows him to keep this lap valid on the exit of Copse, but something's not quite right with the setup for Sir Hamrick. Understeer is pretty awful, and that's that lap totaled. So Avalac rounds the around Stoke Corner, and Alpine spears across the circuit to get out of his way in the braking zone. And it's the fastest time for Avalac, a 28.8. So very handy time already for him. Let's see what Jacques can do after finishing second in the previous qualifying session. Jacques now on a hot lap, 27.9 his first sector. It into Stowe. Burn It Down gets the fastest time of 28.8. Well, we're not watching him, unfortunately. Sorry about that. And into Marriott and Beckett's then riding on board with Jacques. Again, looking really good. Looking like he's got grip to spare on the way out of Chapel, which is unusual. So picked a good line and a good speed. It's fifth gear for Stowe. I have seen drivers do it in sixth. Little stab of the throttle, little short shift, a regather of the car before heading to the line. It's a 28.5. It's the fastest time so far, and straight onto the top of the pile. So after the second runs for most drivers, at least, that is Jacques from Burn It Down, Avalac, Shane, Chums, Pampern, Saltzmeister, AP Mark, Chicken Wing, your top 10. Ron has retired on a 30.9. I imagine from Ron that is not a deliberate action, although he is in the pit lane. So I don't know if he feels like a 30.9 is enough, or he's been given a penalty, because his time is slower numerically than the 9th place driver. So maybe he's been disqualified and we haven't seen why exactly. Well, we'll ride with Stoffel, and if I get a quiet moment, I'll have a look at what happened to Ron on Race Director. Stoffel was a prominent driver in the previous season here in Division 2, whose title challenge faded away as the season progressed, but early on he was quite highly favoured and in contention. Of course, the change of the game that we're playing here has resulted in a shake-up of the order. Barely using the brake into these corners, just using the engine on the car. Simp says he thinks Ron crashed, but would that still leave him at the bottom of the order, Simps, below a time that is supposedly faster? Just slightly confused. Normally cars retire where they have qualified to. Anyway, we'll find out shortly. Stoffel then, P4, 29.2 is a handy time indeed, and Panda is on the lap as well. So Panda currently in the elimination zone, but hasn't set a lap yet. Well, that's an unusual driving tactic there. Feathering the throttle mid-corner, blipping the throttle almost to presumably balance the car, but that sounded like cadenced throttle almost, and it works for Panda, 28.6 and up to P2, so well out of trouble out there. What about Martin though? Uncharacteristically down in 13th place, 4.5 minutes to go. least to get a time on the board. So Sim says he must have got disqualified, but it's just not reading as DSQ, which is why he's been put down to 11th, even though his time is faster. Yeah, good explanation. And now he's been put in the correct order relative to Chicken Wing. I don't know what this game is doing right now with the tower order there on the left hand side of the screen. Martin swings the car then into Stowe, misses the apex, but stays in 6th, so probably helped him in terms of minimum speed through the corner. Only down to 3rd into Vale, so using the gears to almost act as a kind of traction control. 28.7, beats his teammate by a small margin and solidifies 3rd at least for this session. It's all about finding out who is the top 10 though, remember, and the order in which you will start if you finish outside of that. So Hamrick for AlphaTauri, yet to set a time. Plenty of pressure on now with 3 minutes to go. Car getting a little bit loose out of Luffield and into Woodcut. See the counter steer take effect. Shane gets a 28.4 and tops the timing screen at the moment, but it is mighty close in the order. We've got 4 tenths separating the top 6 currently, which is great to see, and promises for us a competitive race, no less. Hamrick crosses the time of being for sector 2, and he's in good shape here to set the lap. Send a postcard from the apex. It was that far away through Stowe, but it's not always critical. Oh no, he's gonna end up going backwards. That was just a little bit throttle happy out of club. He'll set a time. He'll set a time of a 30.2. He beat several other drivers, so he must have been very well to the good. He's actually safe right now, would you believe, despite crossing the line virtually doing a 360. Botta does exactly the same thing, wipes out the car and takes off the rear corner. Glad we caught that just at that moment as Panda retires from the session. Botta is forcibly retired from the session, and a big job for the mechanics to do during Q3 for Botta. That is very unusual to see that happen. Chicken Wing is driving very slowly indeed right now. Saltzmeister, AP Mark, Ron are all at risk here. Saltzmeister and Chicken Wing could lift themselves out of the elimination zone, and Saltzmeister is now just treading very carefully on the way out of Woodcut. That was some distance from the ideal line for Saltzmeister through Copse. Maybe he's got the car set up for qualifying, for the race, sorry, and it's just not sitting well for him here in qualifying. Stoffel retires from the session, happy with his 7th place so far, 29.2. Would say that if you are in the 29s, you're pretty comfortable. Shane also retires from the top of the standings. Saltzmeister will get the opportunity to run another lap here. I think he might be saving some ERS to do exactly that, because it hasn't worked out on this occasion. Looks like Chicken Wing has gone into the pits, so Saltzmeister could be the only one with a shot here at lifting himself into the top 10. Pampern is on the bubble of 30.2. It's his fastest time, 2 tenths faster than Saltzmeister. That's what he's looking for. Saltzmeister is 2 tenths over the length of the race, the 5.8 kilometer circuit here. You'll have to let me know. I'm afraid I don't know. He's 007 up currently, so he's got a small proportion of the time he needs. You have to let me know in South Africa if you guys deal in miles or kilometers. I'm gonna guess kilometers. You're not quite as archaic as we are in the UK, still using imperial measures. Oh, again Saltzmeister had a big lift out of in the middle of Copse. We'll find out after Chapel how the lap is looking, but I think that might have been the moment where he lost the position, the chance to take the next place. Yeah, that was 7/10 of a second. That difficult run through Copse cost him. So it looks to be that Salzmeister will start P11th. And if you're going to drop out of the top 10, then that's second best almost. Looks like the cars have settled in the position they're in. Chums could improve. Salzmeister certainly won't. So Hamrick is on track as well. Chums may go into the pits. No, he's decided to finish the lap out. Will he improve from 8th? No, stays 8th, does Chums, even though he lifted himself by 5/10 of a second. So it's Shane from Jacques, Panda, Martin, Burn It Down, Avalac, all within 4/10 of a second at the end of the session. And I will take you through the standings before taking a quick break. There we have it, 28.4 the fastest time, and I've just read out Jack, Panda, Martin, Burn It Down and Avalac, all very close to one another. Stoffel, Chums, Hamrick and Pampern will be looking for a better run in Q3. Unfortunately, we lose Salzmeister, AP Mark, Ron, Chicken Wing and Botta in that order, but we'll be right back with you with continued commentary in a couple of minutes' time. Well, welcome back. It looks like we didn't miss much other than staring at the standings screen as we waited for someone to click the button to get going. But thankfully we haven't missed any action in that short pause. So about to get back underway then. Welcome if you're just joining us. If you are, you're right on time for the top 10 shootout, and that was stylishly done if that was your intention. But ready to do battle. Pampo and Avalac, Martin, Burn It Down, Shane, Panda, Jacques, Chums, Hamrick and Stoffel. The fastest time so far coming in from Shane and Panda. with Jack hot on their heels as well so far through these 2 sessions. But all of that is forgotten. We're back to square one for everybody, and it's time to go racing. First out the pits once again is Shane, as he was in the previous session. Wonder if he'll manage to complete that first outlap successfully in the way that he didn't before. So this is where it's at then, the top 10. I wonder what your predictions are for tonight as one of the McLarens gets in front of Shane. Prediction for pole, will we see a 28.2, a 28.1 even? I'm anticipating about a 2 or 3/10 ramp up in track evolution between the 2 sessions, all being equal. So Burn It Down will be the first one to watch. I feel like I've watched Burn It Down a lot already in the first 2 qualifying sessions, so I think it might be fair to watch somebody else. We'll just see if Shane makes it out of club successfully. I'm sure he'll be leaving it a bit of an extra margin. He does make it through. So in order then, it's Burn It Down, Shane and Martin, I think. Oh no, Pamperna's snuck in there, so he's on a lap right now as well. So heading out and through the loop goes Burn It Down. This little kink here, I think is technically known as Aintree, as the car joins off the Wellington Straight into Brooklands. Keeping that minimum speed very high, still gathering the car as he turned right into Luffield. Aero really starting to work on the car now. You will lean on the car. We don't downshift. Oh, right on the bubble and an invalidation. That was pretty brave. That was the kind of thing you do once you've got your banker time on the board. As Shane is getting loose through the corners here. Sometimes they will find that the track just doesn't feel quite the same from session to session. That one certainly looked problematic, but Shane has probably got all of that time back, plus some. Getting that tow from the back of the McLaren to Burn It Down, who bailed on the lap. This is Shane looking for an early marker point here on the track. Trying to get the power down with confidence. Away he goes to the line. Shane a 29.1. That is pretty slow for Shane so far. We've seen better, you have to say. Martin crosses the line, 28.007. His name's Martin Natchez with a 28.007. Brilliant stuff. That is a special lap, I think, from Martin. Early doors, Jacques gets a similar time to what he got in the previous session, and that's a nice one to build upon in the next run. Pampern must have invalidated because he was second across the line. So let's see what Chums can do then going through the middle of the circuit. Wes says a 28.0. He got that in before Martin got his time on the board, so congrats to Wesley, and thanks for the note there as well. Good to have you with us. Make sure, of course, guys, that you've liked the video tonight. It really helps get the league noticed on YouTube. Oh, Chum's just overrunning it slightly, so we'll switch back to Hamrick, see if he can negotiate Stowe with any better points. He doesn't quite, because he's already invalidated, but going to run round and try and run again. He's managed to recoup all the energy back into the battery, so he will perhaps be the only driver to watch. No! Oh, that is heartbreaking for Sir Hamrick. Unfortunately, a 360 special on the line is no way to start your fast lap, so it's not working out at all as the rest of the drivers try to come on into the pits. Hamrick will not be happy with me for catching all of this on stream. He would rather no one had seen any of that, I'm sure. So all the in-laps starting again. I'll give you a little reminder because several of you joined late into the session. A reminder of where we stand with the championship leaders. Panda is on 107, Burn It Down on 86, Avalak on 65 with Salzmeister Stoffel. Shane only 49 and Martin only 44 after difficult races. recently, but then Ron, Pampern and Hamrick, your top 10. We are missing a couple of drivers tonight. Top Gun and Butts are not representing. And then Chicken Wing and Essitronic are looking for their first points of the season as well. So I think Jack might be doing a back-to-back lap here. No, it is a slower lap. It is going in for an in-lap. Burn It Down. What are we doing with Burn It Down? We are 5 tenths over our current time. So I'm assuming we're going into the pits. And an outlap already for Chums, who's turned that car around very quickly indeed. Burn It Down, heads into the pit lane. Difficult pit lane entry, this one. Watch out for speed infractions, especially if it rains. I don't think it's going to rain, but whenever it rains in Silverstone, the cars just will not stop in time for the pit lane entry. But watch out for that one. It's difficult to get the car stopped just in time and maximise your in-lap at the same point for the drivers. So definitely a factor to be aware of as they come through during race conditions. Eagle-eyed among you may see the EA Sports logo in the bottom left of the screen. Now, has that always been there? Am I seeing things, or is that new since the update? Why am I surprised by that? Could just be misleading myself, and it's been there the whole time, but first time I've actually noticed it. Chums then has got his DRS flap open down the hangar straight. Most of the crowd seem to be bedecked in red, white and blue, appropriately enough. So plenty of, well, there was an Irish flag there. Shocker says burn it down for pole. Well, we shall see. Nobody else out of the pits at the moment. A beautiful racetrack for Chums to take no excuses then on this lap. Looks like Pampern is on that lap as well. We'll watch with him shortly. Here come the outlaps then with just under 4 minutes to go. Cars piling out the pits. But Chums is on his hot lap. Hasn't set a time just yet. 27.9 is his sector time here. Well, we lost Chums very quickly, and then we just we'll never find out what that lap was going to be, and he'll be hoping to rejoin very, very quickly because the time is running out to set your next lap. Looks like Avalak might be on a lap here. Sorry, the first one to start his lap, but I think it might actually be Pampern. So we'll join Pampern as we haven't really ridden with a Haas driver yet properly tonight. But with 3 minutes to go, 1 run left to go for everybody. It's Martin on a 28.0, significantly ahead of Jacques and Burn It Down. Then Stoffel, Avalak, Panda and Shane, your top 7 who have set times. Here is Pampern's attempt. That looked about perfect through farm. That was a super amount of sausage curb, which is just a nibble on the sausage curb. On the way down the Wellington Straight we go, then under the Aramco Bridge. You can see the Brooklands building on the right hand side. Says Brooklands on it. You get no prizes for knowing which corner Brooklands is, but now you're into Luffield and these super old covered grandstands that give you headaches. They're tin roofed grandstands, and the reverberation of the engine note as the cars scream past those grandstands, really unpleasant, I have to say, if you're ever planning where to sit for the British Grand Prix. I would suggest not there. Anyway, into Maggots and Beckett's we go. Beak tells him to open the DRS. Chums has been able to join, but that is going to be a very tough ask to get round in time. He may try it, he may not even bother, but Pampern through Stowe is still valid here. P8 currently, no time on the board, and around we go. Another driver turning the car around. He may get another go at it. He may get the car back underneath him. Let's see what Shane can do then. Down in 7th at the moment, really needing a better lap out of the car. He's got 44% ERS left. I wonder if he's saving for another attempt. The car almost turned around him on him through Stowe. It does look like the rears are getting very loose for the drivers in this Q3 session. What have we got from the drivers? We've got a faster time from Avalak, a faster still time from Burn It Down, makes it a McLaren 1-2, not for the first time this season. Shane gets into 5th with 49 seconds on the board. There is still time for the drivers to make improvements. Looks like Hamrick is not actually on his lap at the moment. Panda leading the championship, down in 7th at the moment though, nearly 6 tenths to the good. That would get him well up there towards the front end of the grid. Can he get himself up into P3 or 4 here? Goes for the line. Sergeant Panda, he's on the front row, 28-0 himself. What a monster final sector that was. Tremendous stuff from Panda. Splits the McLarens and gets right up into the sharp end of the grid. I'm just trying to find out who should we watch next. I think Stoffel will be the next one across the line. He is over his time at the moment, but he could possibly rescue it with a good run through the final sector. Stoffel 28.7 is all he's achieved so far, and that will put paid to any hopes of improvement. Martin though could be about to go quicker. He has invalidated sadly, so it's Pamper next on the circuit. Again, oversteer through Stowe. That has been the story of this session. Oversteer under power. Shane is faster. Shane is faster on his second lap with less ERS to spend than he had there. Let's see what Shane can do then. Can he lift himself from 6th? Needs a good improvement to get there, and he improves but stays 6th. Shane, a 1:28.6. It will not trouble the guys at the front of the order. He crosses the line, he secures his lap. So Hamrick next is 8 seconds to the good, but he was a 41.3, so you would hope so. Hamrick then, can he beat out his teammate here, even from 8th on the grid? It stays 8th at 28.29.1, stays 8th, so no improvement from him. It is Martin from Panda, Burn It Down on Avalak, with Jack and Shane on row 3. And at the end of Q3, it sees Martin a 28.0, so very narrowly missed the pole position, did Panda, by 75 hundredths of a second. Next comes Burn It Down, best of the rest, in 3rd place, but certainly able to compete into the first stint of the race. Then Avalak, Jacques, Shane, Stoffel, so Hamrick, Pampern and Chums make out your top 10. Cyber says, great job AlphaTauri, you'll get them in the race. And Wesley says, prediction was not so bad. The prediction was spot on. It was one of the best predictions I've seen in some weeks of commentary. Anyway, it's time to get going for our race now. Seems to have taken us a long time to get here tonight to the race o'clock at least. With some various lobby hang-ups. It couldn't be clearer, it couldn't be brighter on the circuit for the drivers today. Paris Ninja says, go Chums. Excellent. Well, haven't heard from you yet, Paris Ninja, but good to know who you're here supporting. Ferrari desperately needing to lift themselves off the bottom of the championship at the moment. So we have the formation lap underway. Let's check out the strategy plans from everybody. Wow, look at that for a mix of strategies. Avalak's gone for hard, so is Stoffel, Pampern, Ron, Botta and Aircitronic. We've got soft tyres on Chicken Wing, so look for a 14th place to move up the order. But everybody else on mediums. Really interesting to see drivers starting on the hard tyre. And of course with free choice, that's absolutely available to them. So it's definitely going to be one to watch. Martin leads them away. The first 3 cars on the same tyres. Avalak will presumably struggle off the line, especially if he doesn't line his car up neatly on his grid slot. He needs to be tearing these hard tyres up on the formation lap and then getting his stop perfect. Any form of disqualification during this formation lap, right, even if it's the last meter, it will cost him tyre temperature and places off the start. Amazon Web Services predicting a lap 12 to 16 stop from the mediums to the hards. I imagine it would be with 12 to 16 laps to go for the hards to the mediums. Unusual though for me to see so many drivers starting on the hards who are in position, as it were. So we shall see exactly how that shakes out. We've got 26 laps of the Silverstone circuit to get through, and hopefully that will be 26 racing laps. You can but hope. First hurdle is to overcome the transition between formation lap and starting lights. The car's looking glorious in the sunshine. Aircitronic needing his first points at the tail of the field. We'll hope to survive the first lap and start to pick off other drivers, but it's Martin and Panda. Martin will have the inside run to the first corner, I believe. Let me get that exactly straight for you. Certainly he's on pole. No, I'm completely wrong. He has the outside run to the first corner. So we'll be hoping that the clean side of the grid helps the drivers out a lot. Bernard Down got a disqualification for misaligning onto the starting grid. Avalak survived it, so remember, hard tyres on Avalak's car, the other drivers in front of him on mediums, and we're almost ready to get going for our Division 2 race. Just trying to get you a good camera angle to get underway. The starting lights are on. It's 5 lights on. And it's dropped the clutch and go away from the start. A good start from Bernard Down in row 2, and he splits the difference between the two of them, but Panda streaks ahead of Martin. Beautiful start from him. Looks like we've just lost a few cars. We've got contact into the infield in the middle of Abbey there from everybody. AP Mark, sadly our pre-show start, retires from the session immediately. We go straight into what I'm assuming to be a VSC at this early stage before having seen the yellow flags. It looks like Avalak, AP Mark, Martin all involved in that first corner melee, so they have dropped down significant places. So Hamrick has also dropped behind them now, and Jacques as well, so we will have some fast cars bringing up the rear of the field. But it is Sergeant Panda and Bernard Down who had the better of the starts. We're on the inside or middle of the circuit, and it looks like someone potentially got the braking all kinds of wrong into Abbey for the first time. Not that you need to particularly brake, but the hard tyres catching the drivers out and ploughing into each other. We've got Martin, Hamrick, Avalak all demoted, Jacques too, but AP Mark sadly out of the session and will play no further part. Given the practice time he puts in, that is doubly annoying. Don Rabico says hards are the best strategy. We just avoid trying to start on the hard tyres for fear of a safety car. Well, the VSC has been cleared. We are back to green flag racing. It's a 3/10 gap at the front of the field. Sergeant Panda leads away from Bernard Down before lap 1 is done and dusted. They've obviously cleaned up all the debris in the infield in Abbey. And Bernard Down comes out of club corner, still just behind Sergeant Panda, who is trying to get the gap on his rival. Jacques is moving upwards, I think, only 1/10 behind Aircitronic at the tail of the field, but we'll watch the leaders head on into farm and the loop. Let's go and see what Jacques is doing. Right on the tail of Essitronics Alfa Romeo. Cannot seem to find a way past at this stage of the racetrack. So back up to the front of the field as we've got pit stops for Hamrick and Avalak, getting rid of those tyres. I think Avalak was definitely on the hard tyre. Burn it down 3/10 behind Sergeant Panda at the front of the field. So major problem from the start there. Looks like Jacques might be about to make a move on Essitronic, or they came to blows at least. 1 second it is between Burn It Down and Shane, second and third. So we've got a two-way battle for the front just at this stage. El Maurice says, go Ferrari, boys. Which is good to see. They definitely need the support at the moment. Chums has made 6 places up from the start of the grid. Great climb, so has Ron. And then Cowboy, Minor, 2, 7 places up themselves. Martin, Jacques down in the order. Saltzmeister getting past Ron now in the background. Let's go back to checking out the tyre situation and drop down the order, because we've got some quick movement going on here. Potentially some mistakes creeping in as Saltzmeister tries to hold off Ron, who is on the ascendancy. We've got Cowboy in 9th. Distracting him all over the circuit from behind, and then Martin and Jacques making their way up from the back of the grid, having had that problem on lap 1. Juan says keep it up, Panda. He's definitely leading the race and the championship at this point. Check out these 3, Cowboy, Minor and Martin, in that order. Surely something's about to happen, but let's go back up to the front of the order where the big points are being fought over. Shane has closed the gap. Burn It Down is still around 3/10 of a second. They'll get DRS shortly. It will be delayed after the VSC on lap 1, but Burn It Down able to live with Sergeant Panda through Cops. Will it continue through the Maggots and Beckett's complex? Sergeant Panda getting well into the corner there. Looks like the medium tyres have really worked out, especially for Chums in the background. He's hot on the heels of the top 4, in fact, and Chums showing some good pace at this stage. No way through currently for Burn It Down, still 3/10 of a second back. There's some tight battling going on around the P9 mark, but this is for the top step of the podium currently. Burn It Down getting a little bit out of shape into the Vale corner, sorry. And we go into Abbey now. Looks like Cowboy and Martin exchanging places back there, but Cowboy has picked up a penalty in the what a great camera angle that was. Thank you very much for that one through the catch fence. There goes Martin with a competitive overtake past Cowboy. Heading through Abbey, an unusual place to make the move. So Martin on the way up the order, but of course his job is getting harder as the front runners have got nice clear tracks in front of them. Martin on the lead lap, on the leader strategy right now. Burn It Down and Shane battling this one out with Panda at the front. Through Cops they go. Are they able to crank on that extra bit of steering to compensate for the understeer following another car? Looks like Burn It Down ready to pounce. Just needs this Beckett's 2 and Chapel exit to be on point to stay with the car in front. He does slip a couple of tenths through there. Should get that time back with the slipstream, but the DRS now open on the McLaren. Just can't get the required overspeed just yet, but surely it's on its way. Panda will have to start driving like a champion-elect soon, and be thinking about not losing the war for the sake of the battle. Feels like the pot is coming to the boil between Burn It Down and Panda, doesn't it? AP Mark complaining he was T-boned with a Red Bull. Front, I'm assuming that Red Bull was Avalak, given that they both went down the order. Avalak running around 16th at the moment, having stopped, and is now on medium tyres. We'll be hoping to run medium to soft with one further pit stop, I imagine. Burn It Down just losing a little bit of headway against Sergeant Panda through sector 1. Here are your top 3 though, maybe soon to be the top 4 if they hold each other up. Chums playing a watching brief on his own in P4 ahead of Stoffel, Pampa and Martin up from the back. Ron, Jacques and then Cowboy in 10th. Looks like Martin and Jacques managed to avoid having to pit in the way that Avalak and Hamrick did, despite being caught up in that first corner incident. There was carbon fibre strewn all over the infield of Abbey. Cowboy picks up a penalty now, as does Ron. It's starting to add up. Track limits, because the lack of walls or gravel just outside the circuit. Track limits, a big problem here in Silverstone. And the corners obviously invite the drivers to really push and go for it as well. Open, wide vistas. Usually you can see the exit on most of the corners as you enter them. Shame to see AP Mark out, but hopefully be back next week. Try and get his revenge in the nicest possible way. Burn It Down. Right on the tail. You can separate the top 3 by half a second here. Shane tries to get tucked up underneath the woodcut corner and has got alongside. This will be tough through Cops, but Shane already ahead. In fact, I think Burn It Down lifted there to avoid an accident. So doing what some drivers are unable to do on track is to avoid an accident in Stowe. And we've got Panda, Shane and Burn It Down then in that order at the moment. Shane's starting to move forward. His tyre deg rate has been very impressive so far this season, so I think he just plays it pretty cool in the first stint, looking to try and have a little look into Vale, but it's a difficult corner to pass. Cyber says great clean driving. Yeah, exactly, it is good to see drivers being circumspect about a move, knowing when to give it up is very impressive. I think more impressive than keeping the boot in and having a crash, frankly. Sergeant Panda 4 tenths then in front, this time of Shane, who is 2 tenths in front of Burn It Down at the front of the order. Martin has made it back up to 7th already, but is several seconds away from the lead of the race. Shane closed up using the DRS. Won't have the opportunity to use it coming through this section, the old start finish straight, but we know how hot he was coming out of Woodcut last time. He takes a slightly narrower line through Cops, trying to stay within the slipstream for as long as possible. Needs to avoid getting too close or too far away through these next 4 corners. Plants the throttle. Tyres starting to show the signs of a little bit of wear on them, especially those rears, and he's got the DRS now as they head down towards Stowe. That hanger straight just not quite long enough to make the move stick at this stage, but seems like it's only a matter of time as he closes on the brakes. Panda was a lot slower on the entry into the corner there. Shane almost tripping over him. Looks like Panda hot on the straights with his top speed, not so good on the brakes, so presumably low trim downforce compared to Shane, lower trim anyway. So it's going to be a tricky one here for Shane to try and get the move done. He's going to have to try and surprise Panda, I think, rather than relying on the DRS. Just as he did surprise Burn It Down coming out of Woodcut 2 laps ago. It's lap 8 of 26. It's Panda, Shane and Burn It Down from Stoffel, Chums, Pampa and Martin Jacques, Ron and Cowboy, your top 10. Avalak has gained 10 seconds on Essitronic since his pit stop down in the lower order, but will have to stop again after these mediums, I imagine. Gap just opening up slightly there between the top three as the tyre wear takes effect. Some regen going on, I imagine, on the cars. Just trying to maximise this medium tyre stint. You either want to maximise it so you can get on the softs, or burn through them and get on the hards pretty quickly and be pitted to the end. You're looking for about 1/3 distance for the former, about 2/3 distance. Sorry, 1/3 distance for the medium to soft, medium to hard, and about 2/3 distance for soft to medium. Botta and Minor are swapping places in the lower order. Botta on top into 12th. Saltzmeister passes Cowboy as well into 10th. But we ride with the top three. Fastest first sector for Shane. He's now really going for it. Let's see Shane coming out of Woodcut. Not quite got the same traction delta that he had against Burn It Down. No, can't really get the powerful slipstream he needs. We have lost some of the dirty air effect, but I don't think we're quite where we want to be technically with slipstream. We want to get rid of this DRS ideally and go back to proper racing. Shane catching but not passing. Panda once again through to the end of lap 9 now. So the drivers now starting to weigh up the option of hards or softs for their next tyre. Except for Stoffel and Pampern, who are weighing up mediums and softs, of course. Oh, Shane, super close. Could reach out and touch the Mercedes if he wasn't strapped into the car. This should be a good run now. Down to 0.2 of a second with the DRS. It looks like Panda is starting to look nervously on the inside. He gives him the inside, tries to sweep across the nose, doesn't quite have the confidence to do it. This could bring Burn It Down right into it as Shane takes a wide entry into Luffield, looking to try and get the power down nice and early, but Burn It Down has got the slipstream on the back of the Alpha Tauri as they bomb down the old start finish straight and into Stowe. It's back as they were, but Burn It Down with a better run. Burn It Down looking like he's porpoising, but I think that's lag on the car. Can't quite get underneath the Alpha Tauri into Maggots. And a half-hearted attempt, really, you have to say, from Shane has led to Burn It Down having the welcome map put out for a possible overtake. Shane dealing with it well, though, not getting flustered under the pressure. And Panda goes into the pits. Panda into the pits early doors, end of lap 10. So that promotes Shane and Burn It Down. Panda will drop down the order. Will he be able to get out ahead of Avalak down there in the order? We will wait to see whether anybody else decides to pit on this lap. Not yet. So Panda very early onto the hard tyres here compared to everybody else, and that was Shane. That was Shane's turnaround, just coming out of the loop. Unfortunately, it looks like maybe one lap too many on those medium tyres for Shane. Unfortunately, spins and has suffered the consequences. So Burn It Down on his own at the front of the field. Couldn't ask for a better opportunity. Now Shane has got the other McLaren coming up behind him of Martin, who is on the medium tyres, and the same strategy. So Shane has lost all that headway. Unfortunately, that means that Burn It Down has got the best opportunity here to pit and come back out, try and maximise his chance at an overcut, or at least cover off the move from Panda, who was trying to make sure that he didn't get undercut himself. Martin then right behind Shane, whose tyres should be back as they ought to be. Shane doesn't defend and Martin doesn't go for it. Burn It Down into the pits. And Martin doesn't go for the pit lane either, and neither does Shane. Surprisingly, after doing a spin turn, you'd think those tyres were past it. Chums into second, then Pampern into third on the hard tyres, but Stoffel on the leader of the hard tyre strategy run, looking in a good place here so far. Could run the softs at the end of the race. Ricky Lau pipes up with a "Let's go Pampern." Good to hear, Ricky. How's life in the Premier Division working out for you? Martin then right up behind the AlphaTauri, who defends to the inside. Looks like he's already passed. He is into Brooklands, and Martin promoting himself with a good overtake, and having brought the car back from near the back of the grid after turn one. Some great pace in the McLaren there tonight. So it looks like Burn It Down managed to overcut Panda by 1.7 seconds. Tremendous stuff there. Obviously Panda not maximising the out or in laps. Shane picks up a penalty as well, just to further frustrate the AlphaTauri driver, who was doing so well earlier on in the race. We are almost at half distance. It's Stoffel from Chums and Pampern and Martin, Shane and Jacques, all of whom have not yet pitted. See if anybody goes for the pit lane. Yes, several drivers in. That was Chums. I think that was Martin in front of Shane as well. So the overcut appearing to work pretty well. We'll check it out between Martin and Shane as well shortly. But Sergeant Panda then, with the hard tyres, 1 lap old, should be approaching the right kind of temperatures, is behind Burn It Down, and would quite like his net lead of the race back, please. Moving up the grid as they pass the pitting drivers. So just in front of them we've got Stoffel, Pampern and Shane. Stoffel, Pampern, Ron, Botta, all unlikely to pit, and Essitronic unlikely to pit for a while yet. On those hard tyres, looking to get a good run on the hards before a nice low fuel sprint on the softs at the end of the race. Got a yellow flag in sector 1. That appears to be Chums having turned it around in the loop, just as we saw Shane. Almost identical position. No damage on the car. That looks like a traction moment there for Chums, who was driving so well in the net P4. Has slipped back behind the climbing Martin and Jacques. Good stuff from those two drivers, having suffered on the first lap. Looks like we've got Martin behind Botta, as well as Sergeant Panda behind Burn It Down here, but the speed difference between those two drivers we've seen has not been particularly strong. Shane is in the pits to get rid of the medium tyres, presumably go on the hards. Oh, a late jink to the side from Martin. Will not accept a chop from Botta there, and Martin climbs up to P7 successfully. We've got Panda now still chasing down Burn It Down. Stoffel and Pampern yet to pit at the front of the race, some 21 seconds ahead of Burn It Down and Panda. Could be in a good place later on in this race, especially if they come out of the pits and will be on softs versus hards. What else is happening on the grid? Remember, these are your net leaders before the pit stops, Burn It Down and Sergeant Panda. We've got Chums recovering and passing Essitronic here. Essitronic just sticking the nose up through the loop, an entry, and Chums will have been holding his breath through there, having just made an error the previous lap. He consolidates his move though and stays in front of Chums. Looks like we've got Shane versus Martin. Take 5, I think, tonight. Shane having been well, he didn't lose a position or a great deal of time on that pit stop compared to Martin, but now he's got to bring these hard tyres in and they are a little bit difficult. Ron heads to the pit lane to get rid of his hard tyres. That's a slightly unusual time to stop off the hard tyres. If he's burnt through those already, that's a fairly strong amount of tyre wear he's used. He goes on to medium tyres, so looking to get a good run on the mediums here. Just under half the race left to run. But I imagine our lead two still 20.7 and 22.8 seconds ahead of the net leaders Burn It Down and Sergeant Panda. I imagine they're going to keep running for a few more laps to try and run the softs at the end of this one. AP Mark says, come on Stoffel, you can do it. His teammate, of course, Aston Martin. We've only lost one driver so far this race, despite the amount of damage we saw happen at the start. And Antoinette de Jager says, go chicken wing, down in 16th. So he needs a bit of support, does chicken wing. These two continue to battle for what is effectively the lead of the race. Double wave yellows in sector 2 are on the way through Brooklands. Seems to have been cleared, thankfully. Like that was possibly, well, it's certainly one of the Haas drivers. Oh, Stoffel in the pits then for medium tyres. That is not quite plan A, I imagine. As K1A says, come on, burn it down, let's go for the win. Martin gets the fastest lap. It's good to see. Burn it down in second place. Remember, he has yet to stop, as has, sorry, Pampern has yet to stop and is trying to stretch this hard run. But if Stoffel's run is anything to go by, it's not looking great. 6.9 seconds behind this group, Stoffel comes out, so that cost him about 28 seconds in the pits to fit the medium tyres. Penalty on the board for Cowboy. Let's have a look at the penalties accrued so far. Wow, 12 seconds and 11 seconds for Cowboy and Essitronic so far. Definitely looks... Whoa, here comes Panda. Here comes Panda down the inside into Stowe, but Burn It Down braves it around the outside. Beautiful cooperative driving from both of them, keeping to their halves of the racetrack, and that was great exchange between the two. Panda going for the move, Burn It Down leaving room at the apex, and again avoiding contact. Expert driving from these two, and not for the first time we've seen tonight. Jacques looks to be closing behind Botta. Is he close enough to have a go? Quite. Shocker says, keep in mind the Merc is pressurising his tyres. Shows he's going for the softs in the end. If Burn It Down maximises this stint, he can win with a one-stopper. Okay, well, that's interesting info that you think that Panda is going to try and stop again through this race. Does that meet with universal agreement in the live chat? Do we think Panda is going to try and go for the soft tyres at the end? I think he made his attempt. I think he's losing ground now with his ERS. He's on a charge lap effectively, trying to get back on this one. So Pampern stays out still. He's now got 9 laps to go, and we're getting into the comfortable range for the soft tyres. Could be a really good final stint there for Pampern. Could find himself in P5 or even P4. Oh, what was that going on in the background? That looked to be a problem there for Sir Hamrick, spinning just in front of these second and third drivers. Shocking was talking about a possible safety car. Okay, got it. Yeah, I think everyone will take the chance during the safety car if they can to get the soft tyres on at the end. But things running pretty well here for Pampern. He's lost, what about a third of a second a lap in the last 3 laps over Burn It Down and Sergeant Panda, but he should get that back with the soft tyres at the end. Panda DRS still on the back of Burn It Down. How late do you think Pampern can get away with a stop here? I would say end of this lap, end of the next one maximum, to really use those soft tyres to their full. It's lap 18 of 26. Pampern leads, having yet to stop from Burn It Down, Panda and Stoffel. Martin, Shane, Jacques. 3 quick cars in qualifying, currently running 5th, 6th and 7th. Avalak lifting himself into the points as well, with his teammate there 9th and 10th, chums in 8th in between them. Ricky Lau says Pampern can be the dark horse. I think so too. I think Pampern, avoiding errors, could well find himself in a good position at the end of this race, and these guys will start to slow each other down as they begin to battle more strongly. No hint of a move down into Vale from Panda, and Pampern stays out into lap 19 now on the hard tyres. Been an absolute cracker of a race so far, particularly this battle for the podium that has raged the entire race long. Martin, another fastest lap. He has got a lot of speed out there tonight. Remember, set the pole position. Shocker says Pampern P2. For me, I think Pampern's either going to win it or come third. I don't think he's going to get in between these two and stay in between these two. Down the inside goes Panda once again. Burn It Down leaves the inside open and braves it around the outside. Again, good quality driving there from both of them. Panda for not braking too late, and Burn It Down for leaving that apex gap. That allows Burn It Down just to breathe a little bit easier over the next couple of corners. Pampern is coming up to lap, I think, Esitronic possibly at this point. So might want to consider a trip into the pits now. Just keeping an eye on the Haas driver. No, still hasn't pitted. Pampern, he is going for a very late stop. Shocker says he's losing so much time. Absolutely. He'll have his own plan in his mind, but you do need to be flexible with your plan A. So Shocker volunteering to be Pampern's engineer next week, I think. .5 seconds between Pampern and second and third places. Let's just have a look at gap to leader, because we're tracking back to roughly a 28-second. Wow, so it's going to be right on the bubble of where Martin is currently for a pit stop for Pampern. And I wouldn't fancy trying to take on Martin. If at all possible, you want to get out in front of Martin, right? Trying to go faster than the driver who's consistently had the fastest lap through the race does look to be a difficult job, even if you're on 2 different types of tyre. So Panda getting super close once again, going into Stowe, into Copse. Trying to stay with the McLaren through these next sequence of corners. Avalak pits for soft tyres for the end of the race here now. And it looks like Pampern finally goes to the pits. Here comes the move. Here comes another move then, and Sergeant Panda timing that one beautifully. He earned that after laps and laps and laps of staying in the DRS zone and the dirty air of Burn It Down. Sergeant Panda back in the net lead of this race by the time they pass Pampern in the pits. The question though is, where does Pampern come out? Does he manage to make it out in front of Martin or behind? He's already moving. He's already on his way out of the pit box. Pampern, no, he's slipped behind Martin, so down to P5 for Pampern. That is a new fastest lap by Shane this time, who was right. And Pampern's got on mediums. What? Please, anybody explain that move for me. With 5 laps to go, why you put mediums on the car. Pampern obviously disliking the softs tonight, but I'm honestly shocked to see that. He will have a tyre delta, but it won't be as great as if he were wearing the soft tyres. Please, somebody help me out. Why would you do that? As AP Mark says, come on Stoffel, let's get that podium. Well, absolutely. Shocker said he had a Ferrari strategist. Yeah, good line. Definitely. Here comes Burn It Down to retaliate on Panda. He's not quite close enough though. Panda has got good top speed. And that has helped him get past and keep and stay past Burn It Down on this lap. There we have yet again that digital porpoising effect. I don't quite know how Burn It Down has managed to introduce porpoising into a game that deliberately didn't code it into the game. But Burn It Down then, quarter of a second back with 4 laps to go. Sim says Ferrari strategy, only explanation, yeah. If Pampern made it to the podium, that would be the first thing I'd be asking him. I might even ask him in the driver chat and try and get a line from him at the end there. So currently it's Sergeant Panda from Burn It Down, Stoffel and Martin, who's hot on the heels of Stoffel. I think possibly a mistake that last lap from Stoffel. Pampern is fairly secure in front of Shane, but this is Stoffel versus Martin, mediums versus hards respectively, but both of them are wearing penalties. That could really bring Pampern in onto the podium. Let's take a look at the penalty situation. It's 3 seconds each. Pampern on new tyres. If he can close that gap, will be in a great place to get himself onto the podium. So that is the story as we close out the race, apart from the battle, of course, for the win. Is how close can Pampern get on new tyres. This is Martin going for it with Stoffel, not quite making it past. Will it maybe another go here? Not quite. How filthy is that McLaren tonight? He's obviously picked up an awful lot of dirt and detritus on the car. Sim says the new engineer is secretly a Ferrari strategist. Technically, the new engineer was never an engineer at all. He was a mechanic for McLaren, was Mark Priestley. So can't quite have the Ferrari leaning excuse. Burn It Down then, on board with him and his pursuit of a potential win. Only the minority of drivers have kept this race clean tonight. We heard from AP Mark that was one of his target, was to finish without a penalty. So it's clearly in the forefront of our drivers' minds that places can be gained as a result. Pampern is unable to make much headway against Stoffel and Martin, and he just needs just over a second, maybe a second and a half to do it. Oh, running a little bit wide. Burn It Down, perhaps running out of grip there. Owen Pampern has completed the set of penalties from 3rd down to 6th and ended his chance at a podium. Burn It Down goes to the inside. Wasn't a very serious attempt, but he might be tempted down into the club corner. Oh, can't quite get there, but then he's getting very close then with just 2 laps to go after this one. Across the line they go. Lap 24 begins. Sergeant Panda and Burn It Down, as it has been all race long, nose to tail. Double wave yellows in the first sector. Oh, that's white. That was another problem for an Alfa Romeo, but so far hasn't distracted the front two. Just a few miles to go now. Has Burn It Down kept much in the tank? Let's check out the telemetry. He has slightly less battery deployment than Panda, moves across the racetrack, just trying to inform Burn It Down that he has him covered. That's not going to work for a good exit for Burn It Down either through Beckett's. Again, double yellows in the second sector. That was a Haas getting something wrong. And Burn It Down with the DRS. Brake quite early going into Stowe this time out. I guess looking to collect as much ERS as he can for the final 2 laps. Across the line they go, still under half a second between the top 2. Martin versus Stoffel is under half a second as well. Not quite sure which of these 2 battles to watch. Pampern has dropped back and gone off the track. That must be the Haas that was having difficulties. Pampern down into 7th place. Not ideal at all. Pampern shone so brightly running late, but perhaps fitting the mediums was the start of the unravelling of his race. Martin then with DRS down the Wellington straight. Can't quite get the overspeed required. Pampern out of the race, has retired from the race. Is that in the pit lane for Pampern? Unfortunately, he has had enough. Not going to pick up his points there, which I'm sure will not be taken particularly kindly by the admin of the league, Avalak, when he watches this back. Martin is right behind Stoffel now, heading into Maggots and Beckett's. The Alfa Romeo not getting out of the way in front of them. It's not great blue flag behaviour, is it? This could mean a potential double toe here for Martin. Not quite close enough once again. Double wave yellow. That is the AI car of Pampern back on track. So, oh man, it's not going well at all for the Haas team here. Here is Burn It Down. Now he's going to try and make it stick, because this is the final lap. Panda versus Burn It Down once again. As we stare at an empty track. Thank you very much, game makers. But Burn It Down now. Closing, almost pushing Panda around, and a spin for Burn It Down. He made contact with the back of Panda, and I'm not sure he's going to be able to recover in time to get back on the podium. It's Martin and Stoffel making up places, so Stoffel may well get this podium all the same. Burn It Down has a massive task on his hands now to try and close 2 seconds to stay within the penalty marker of the cars in front. Unbelievable moment there for Burn It Down. Just tagged the back of Panda's Mercedes, caught himself on a narrow line on the dirty side of the track and lit up the tyres. I think that's the best explanation I can give, as Panda is heading through the Maggots and Beckett's corner. Martin will have one more chance here to take the second step on the podium, when it all looked like it had all gone wrong in the first lap. Martin with a 3/10 gap here as they approach Stowe corner. I don't think Martin's close enough. I think Panda is about to win the race as well. So Panda gets down into the final 2 corners to finish this race out. What a dramatic race we've had on our hands. Panda withheld all the pressure and wins in Silverstone, wins the British Grand Prix. Panda with a tremendous drive overall, you have to say. Stoffel crosses the line ahead of Burn It Down, because Martin spun at the tyres on the final lap as well. Martin made a mistake, presumably coming out of Stowe, gifting the podium back to Burn It Down, and that is Panda, Stoffel and Burn It Down, your unlikely podium in the final lap. Shane secures 4th with some good pace and consistency. Martin in the end gets the car home 5th. Then comes Jacques, who brings the Alpine into 6th place, and we've got Chums about to cross the line in 7th. What a dramatic final lap that was. Incredible stuff. Panda a popular winner, and AP Mark happy at least that Stoffel's made it up there into the top order. Ron will get overtaken by Chums at the end of this one, I believe, by Minor in after penalties here. So Ron crosses the line in 8th, but he will get demoted. Avalak picks up a penalty on the final lap of the race to prevent him, I was going to say, from getting points, but he finishes 9th ahead of Minor, and then Ron demoted. But as the final pace sitters finish the race. It is Sergeant Panda, your winner, after a tremendous race-long battle between himself, Burn It Down, and Shane, only to then be the victor on the final lap by holding off the pressure despite contact. It's Martin who gets driver of the day for, bizarrely, making a place. He did make up places after lap 1, but he was the pole sitter, so it's unusual for me to see that turn of events. So remember to stay tuned if you can, because we will try and speak to our three podium sitters. Avalak is working furiously in the background to get them invited to the press conference, but there you have it. Fantastic win for Panda. Really very, very impressive. Pressure resistance all race long. Good, congratulations for Panda coming in the chat. Of course, he was, as I say, popular before we started the race, and stretches his lead at the top of the standings. A really good win overall. Stoffel will be as surprised as anyone to end up on the podium after spinning on the final lap. There is Panda then, your winner, with a race time of 40 minutes 43, followed home by Stoffel and Burn It Down. In the end, Panda taking a second place to a first. There you see Martin starting first, finishing fifth and getting driver of the day. Perhaps it was all the fastest laps, and he got the fastest lap in the end as well, a 30.8. Shane finished fourth, Martin in fifth, Jacques in sixth. Then comes Chums, Salzmeister, Avalak in ninth, and Minor getting the 10th place. We then finish with Ron, Botta, Cowboy and Esitronic, Chicken Wing, Pampern and Sir Hamrick finished the race. We had 17 finishers from 18 starters, and unfortunately the main casualty was our pre-show star, AP Marg, but hopefully he'll be back strong for next week. Remember to stay tuned and save up your questions for the podium sitters here at the end, and hopefully we're just gathering them. I just heard one in my ear, and hopefully each of them will just check their audio settings. Both broadcast and party audio are set to share, and we'll be able to have a chat with them. But do we have Panda having joined already? Not quite yet. I will hang on for just a moment to see if Panda can make it into the chat. Be good to speak to our winner first. Just to give you that line on Punaki, I said, why did he use the medium tyres? And he said he used the softs in qualifying, unfortunately, and didn't have a clean set of softs to use. He's kicking himself, but that is the explanation that we would like. It looks like Panda is on his way, hopefully with his voice settings checked as well. And but Panda, you are the winner of the British Grand Prix. How does that feel?
Yeah, what a race, eh? I mean, I had like a battle there with Bernard down it as well. So yeah.
You had to work for that one for sure. That must have been a really difficult race.
Yeah, look, it was tough going from the start, I guess, sandwiched between the two McLarens there. So yeah, Bernard down keeping me on my toes.
You're very popular on in the live chat. Do you get all your friends and family to watch, or are you just that good at your social engagement?
No. It's a few oaks from work and so on that's catching the stream now, getting them involved and so forth.
Awesome. Anyone when you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, just all the tier 2 guys, man. I think we improved a lot this year and just having a great time racing all the oaks.
Awesome. Well, congrats on a great win and a stretching lead in the championship. Dare you dream yet?
No, I don't think yet. The season's still long. Yeah, just have to keep on giving 100% for all the remaining races.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations, and good to talk to you at the end. Thanks for joining. I think we've got Stoffel with us, have we?
Yeah, we do.
Hey, Stoffel. A second place in the end. I bet you were pleasantly surprised after starting the penultimate lap where you were.
Yeah, no, look, I actually saved a lot of ERS. So yeah, used it wisely tonight, but happy to be back on the podium after a dismal couple of races.
Looked like it might have been challenging seeing Martin setting fastest lap after fastest lap on the chase behind you.
Yeah, I used my ERS on the straights, made sure on the DRS straights I had a good exit on the corners, and yeah, you just used ERS to keep him at bay.
Awesome. Well, a very consistent run from you today. Everyone else had very dramatic moments. It seemed, at least from what I saw, like it was all quite calm and still for you.
I actually stayed out of trouble tonight, so I'm happy for that.
Good stuff, and congrats on a podium. And lastly,
Cool.
on the third step, despite spinning on the final lap of the race, it's Burn It Down who managed to secure that third. I don't know if you saw. Can you enlighten us, Burn It Down, on what happened to your teammate on the final lap? Okay. Yeah, a big moment. But talk us through that little spin at the end. I don't want to focus on the negative because it was a tremendous race-long battle you had with Shane, and then of course with Panda the entire race. But it looked like you just got offline through the loop and heading onto the Wellington Straight, and just I guess the tyres just let go on you. Yeah. Yeah, it looked like you were chasing the tail of the car a lot of the time through the fast stuff, but and Panda probably had the legs on you with the top speed as well. But you certainly gave him a run for his money tonight. Yeah. Well, I'm sure that getting on the podium tonight will give you all the motivation you need to keep pushing through the rest of the season. Congrats on the podium and on a really strong race. A lot of fun watching that one. Thanks a lot to Burn It Down, to Panda, our winner, and Stoffel, our second place finisher. Thanks to Avalak for running the league, for organising the press conference as well, and of course thanks to our guest star of the pre-show, AP Marg. Our commiserations to him. Hopefully we will see more from him next week. Hopefully we'll get another driver in the pre-show as well, so remember to tune in that few minutes early and you can get to know our superstars here at Full Throttle Racing Division 2. If you subscribe to the channel, you won't miss tomorrow night's Premier Division, and make sure you've liked the video and followed us on socials. My tag is at WebORed5 on both YouTube, Discord, and also on Twitter as well. But from me, from everyone at Full Throttle Racing, we will catch you on the next race day.